Welcome back to episode 2 of this 3-part mini tattoo series. Today we're going to be talking about how to prepare for your tattoo, going over things like cost and tip, consultations, which are typically for larger pieces, something you can do if you're feeling a little bit nervous that will hopefully calm those nerves down, and best practices that I do for all of my tattoos the morning of to make the process a lot easier and more relaxing for me. So if that sounds good to you, let's get started. Welcome back to the channel. This is Flown On. I'm Brad. If you're a current subscriber, thank you so much for your support. I know you keep hearing me say that, but it really does mean a lot. If you stumbled across this video, thank you for watching, even if it's up till this point. I hope you consider subscribing at the end if you like the content, but let's jump into it. So let's start with cost and tip. So cost shouldn't come as a surprise. And let me start by saying this. A tattoo is not something that you should haggle or negotiate on for price. The hourly rate is set for a reason. You're going to the artist for them to do a good job and ultimately for you to like what you got. You're not trying to get the best price. So if you're going into it with that mindset, then find some tattoo artist that's gonna tattoo you in their basement, and I wish you the best of luck.
That's the joke. Stay calm.
But if you're actually taking the time to think through this, find a good reputable artist like we talked about in the first episode. You should know what their hourly rate is based on either they've posted on their website or you can just ask them in person. And you should be able to ask them too, maybe a ballpark of the size of the tattoo that you're going to get. Build in a tip. Save up some money. Don't impulsively get one if you're strapped for cash or broke. One, you shouldn't be getting a tattoo anyway. Use that money for something else. But if you have the money set aside for a tattoo, make sure you have enough to give like a decent tip. I don't think tips are expected from artists. I did a lot of research on this just because I honestly didn't know in the beginning. I usually do 20%. So if you look at a tattoo artist, they are in the service industry. So if you think of things like going to get a massage, you tip a massage therapist. It's kind of in the same realm. So the next thing is consultation. Consultation you might not have if you're getting a smaller piece. In short, it's really just to make sure you and the tattoo artist are on the same page for the idea that you're actually getting. Go into this with an open mind. One of you commented on the last video, which I thought was pretty cool. You were pretty artsy and you said, what if I'm able to draw my own tattoo idea? Awesome, that's pretty cool. It makes the step easier of getting the idea in your head out. For me, or for probably the general person who can't draw for shit, I went in with an Instagram image or images and basically just said, hey, here's the idea that I'm going for. A lot of my images were mostly just based on scale and general idea. And I picked my artist for his tattoo style. So I kind of bring him the idea and I let him run with it for the most part. I give my feedback, based on his ideas too, but it's really just making sure you're on the same page. So don't go into a consultation so closed-minded that you're like, this is what I'm getting. I don't really care what the artist has to say. This is how I feel, this is what I want, end of story. You're going to the artist because they're an expert in their field. Hopefully, again, if you found a reputable artist, go into it with an open mind. Look for their feedback. You should value what they have to say. They've tattooed people a lot. They know what looks good and what doesn't. I know when I was going in for this one, I wanted like an aerial view of like a coffee cup or something. I don't know. It was my first tattoo. I was just throwing out ideas. He flat out told me like, that's not gonna look good. It's not gonna be readable from far away. And I'm so glad that he told me that. I'm actually thankful now that he is brutally honest to just tell me that up front, and then we can move past it and work on other ideas. If you're nervous beforehand, which you probably will be. I know I was. I kind of think when you're going to like high school or college or starting a new job, if you're anything like me, I usually drive the route beforehand, whether that's the week before or the day before, so I know where I'm parking, I know where the entrance is. I can kind of have that plan so I'm not stressed day of. I did the same thing for the tattoo. So if you're a person that gets a little bit nervous or maybe stressed out about those things, I recommend going to the shop, taking a look around, introducing yourself, and that will probably slightly calm those nerves a little bit before tattoo day. So jumping to the morning of, this one's gonna sound simple, but I'll start with this one. Take a shower, please. Trust me, They will be thankful that you're clean and you don't smell. Think about it in their shoes. You're sitting in close proximity to someone, maybe for an hour or longer. Don't go in there after going to the gym or not showering the night before, especially depending on where you're getting tattooed.
What is that? It smells like a turd covered in burnt hair.
I think that's just being a good human being. If you're sitting that close to someone, I think we've all been there where someone has maybe some bad BO, and it's very hard to concentrate and sit next to someone who maybe doesn't even realize that they smell. But if you're going into a tattoo, make sure you're clean, make sure you smell good. Shave. So this might not be that big of a deal if you're getting a smaller tattoo. So if it's just like a little spot right here where the tattoo artist just kind of has to shave you at the shop, where it's just a like a 1-2, fine. Maybe you don't need that to do that beforehand. But like for me, for example, I went in for my arm tattoos. I had my arm all shaved and ready to go. My leg, I had completely shaved. It saves them an extra step, and it helps you be able to get tattooed quicker so that they're not having to mess with one more thing when you get to the shop. So it's just a courtesy on your end, you're gonna be showering. Hopefully, now that we've had this talk, you're gonna be showering before you go in the shop. Just shave while you're in the shower and just check that step off. The other thing too is you're not getting tattooed right when you go in the shop. When you get there, the artist might be finishing up final touches on the design. They'll have to lay the trace down and make sure that it looks straight, that it's readable from different angles. My tiger tattoo, for example, he laid it on, he had me kind of turn, from different angles to make sure that it was lined up centered and looked good. Be prepared that they might have to, I don't know what the trace, I don't know what that ink is called, whatever it is, someone comment below if you know the name, but they might have to wipe that off and reset it to make sure it's good. Get your approval, get their approval, and then go from there to the actual tattoo itself. But just know that there's a little bit of prep that goes into it before the needle actually touches your skin to start the tattoo. The next thing is eat a big filling meal. This will help a lot with the pain. If you go into it with an empty stomach, I guarantee you're gonna regret it. You might even feel a little bit queasy.
Don't throw up.
So make sure you eat something that fills you up. My go-to is typically bagel and peanut butter, protein shake, maybe some yogurt with some granola, blueberries, something like that. I eat to the point where I'm a little bit past full. I've had some longer sessions, so sometimes I don't always take a break for lunch, but make sure you go into it with a good full stomach. My one side note, I heard if you're tattooing your stomach specifically, you're not supposed to go in with a full stomach. So if it's something odd like that, make sure you do your research. But in general, make sure you have a good meal before you go in. The other thing around that too, talking about the food topic, is bring a snack with you. So if you are gonna be there for a while, and it's a good backup if you do start to feel a little bit queasy, bring something simple like a protein bar, maybe some Cheez-Its. That's usually my go-to because it's just kind of quick, it's not really messy. Something that you can just eat at the shop during like little breaks, or if they're tattooing you in an area where the tattoo artist allows you to eat while they're tattooing, something quick just to get it in your stomach to, again, avoid the queasy feeling and just keep you going. I would also bring like a water bottle too. Typically the shop has like a water cooler or something if you need to get water during a break, but I usually bring my own water bottle just to have some extra water on me.
There's water from a glacier in Alaska.
Dress appropriately. This is a big one too. Depending on the area that you're getting tattooed, like say you're getting a tattoo where I did on my arm, I'm not gonna come into the shop with a long sleeve shirt on. I'm gonna have a t-shirt so that I can, roll my sleeve up and make it easily accessible for the tattoo artist to tattoo the area. Something else around clothing that might be specific to me, but I think it's worth noting for you all. I have awful circulation in my hands and feet, so I get cold even when it's not that cold out. Something that's really helped me while I'm getting tattooed is I typically wear or bring a winter beanie and a sweatshirt. Now, whether or not I wear it is kind of besides the point. It's that I have it there if I need it. So typically I'll start with the sweatshirt off. I'll start to get a little bit cold, throw the sweatshirt on or the hat. It just kind of keeps me with good body temperature. It happened on my first one when I wasn't prepped for this, and I started shaking towards the end of the tattoo. And once you start, it's very hard to stop shaking when you get cold and just kind of get going. You can imagine the shaking isn't good for the tattoo artist to keep a straight line and all that stuff. So definitely bring some extra clothes like a sweatshirt or something if you do get cold pretty easily. I know that helps me a lot. The next one is show up on time. So like anything else, I think this one kind of speaks for itself. show up most likely even a little bit early, even if it's like 10 minutes. Again, there's some prep involved before you get the actual tattoo. It's respectful for the artist to show up on time, make sure you're good to go, and that way you can do any prep that's needed beforehand. Don't be the person that shows up unshaved, shows up 15 minutes late, you know, on and on and on and on. They probably have other clients that they're tattooing that day too, so don't be the asshole that wastes their time. Show up on time and wait patiently until, you know, they're ready to go. The last thing that I want to touch on is during the tattoo, deep breaths go such a long way. Not like a little short breath, like the breaths that they tell you that kind of deep in for 4 or 5 seconds, deep out. I kind of close my eyes. I really focus on my breath when it starts to hurt, and it really distracts me from the pain that's actually happening. And it kind of distracts me from the time. It really just kind of gets me in my own head and makes everything else kind of blur out. Specifically for my leg. My leg is the most pain in a tattoo I've experienced so far. Specifically my shin, my calf, my foot, my inner knee, the inner part of my upper thigh. So deep breaths will go a really long way if you are feeling a lot of pain during the tattoo. Highly recommend that. Or like we talked about in the first episode, if you have headphones and you want to listen to your own music, do something like that too if that helps. So that's everything I wanted to hit on. Hopefully this was helpful. It seemed that the first video helped a lot of you out, so I was glad to see that in the comments. If you haven't subscribed yet, consider subscribing if you like this content. It really does help my channel. I am so grateful for all the people that have subscribed so far. It's been pretty cool getting to know you in the comments. Punch the like button below because it helps YouTube recommend this video to other people. And I will see you soon for the 3rd episode, which will be how to take care of your tattoo once it's done. Bye. Don't just go get a tattoo, like if it's I'm talking too much. And something that can kind of calm those nerves. Jesus. And overall,